Test, test, test. Let's see if this one is working now. I don't know. Oh, looks like there we go. Test, test, test. Mute so you don't hear the reverb. Can you guys hear me now? It should be working now, I think. Okay, good. You guys can hear and see me. All right, that's better. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It said it was live, but I couldn't get it to refresh, or I couldn't see myself. So yeah. All right, I'm starting to see some people in here. What's going on? Hey, everybody. Evening. Already got some members in here. Let's make sure everything's working here. Looks like it's all right. I've got a chat bar up here this time too. I forget how to do this on OBS. I'm gonna have to like. This is gonna be weird. So you guys will probably see when I see something and then I respond to it. So this will be interesting. Good evening, everybody. Looking at some active weather coming up here. Just thought we'd do a live stream, and it's been a while since I've done one on the Pacific Northwest weather page. Oh, and that's why I shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to move that off the screen there. I'd have to leave it over there. Brad Parker has his Tempest. All right, nice. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed those dry days, because it's going to be pretty rainy here for the next couple of weeks. Maybe even longer. I mean, we'll get some breaks in between there and whatnot, but I'm sure that you're going to get your fill of precipitation, especially if the 18Z GFS is right. Buckley in the house. Yeah, we got a lot of members in here. Awesome. Look at Olympia Ski Bum, Brad Parker, Brian Anderson, Matt Winberry, Jack McKay, Brad Parker, Brian Anderson, Kelly Hamilton, Aaron Green. Texas is up 3-0. Could have been the Mariners. Yeah, thanks for joining the California channel too. Almost to 5,000 subscribers there, and we just went over 52,000 subscribers on this Pacific Northwest Weather Watch channel here. In fact, let's do this real quick. There's pretty cool stuff you can do with the YouTube analytics here. I forgot how you see it live though. Oh, I got to go to analytics, and I got to go to. You can kind of see it update here real time, and you can go back and see when the subscriber counts grew quite a bit and whatnot. Here, let's do this. Okay, so I'll show the people as we go through here, but Chris Naughty, thank you for the generosity. Pacific Northwest weather lover in the house. We got a moderator in here. I should actually make Aaron Green a moderator too. I know Aaron. Aaron's now a moderator. Kelly Hamilton is here. Bill D. Jr. here from the Western Sierras of California. Now look at all the members in here tonight. My goodness. Yeah, I mean, if we get rainy now, we might set the stage for some kind of flooding down the line too. I mean, you guys know how it gets once we start saturating things. But we got some protection to go here. The soil is going to absorb a lot of moisture when it does fall. There's a lot of places that are pretty dry and readily available to absorb moisture. But of course, if it becomes too hot and heavy, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get flooding. I don't know if you guys saw my post on X or Twitter, but you check this out. I'm going to just scroll through the 18Z GFS here. Actually, this first system here too, by the time we get towards tomorrow, you can see you're looking at 1.5 inches for Seattle. So we got a lot of rain incoming right now. I mean, what is it? I've only got a few hundreds here at my house right now. So we got a lot of rain coming through tomorrow. And this next system's really going to target some of Oregon here as well. And Northern California getting the action. But look at just kind of scrolling through here. And look at some of the ridiculous totals that were showing up on the 18Z GFS. You're looking at what, close to 7 inches, over 7 inches there in Seattle. I mean, some of the Olympic mountains. And again, if you guys saw my post, the scale only goes to 20 inches there. And you can see we're over 20 inches in some spots of the Olympics. I don't expect that necessarily to happen. But what an just incredible rainy signal here. I mean, there's always a chance for thunder and lightning here. It depends on individual systems. Right now, we're not looking at an imminent thunderstorm threat. We'll actually look at some of that. Actually, let's just go ahead and do that right now. In fact, where are we here? I wanted to look at the sea level pressure. Yeah, so if we look here, you can see these systems just marching in. I think we had like 9 systems coming in. A couple warm fronts and cold fronts moving in here. And maybe with this low here, it'll be spreading some cold air in. So, I mean, there's always a chance for a thunderstorm with some of the colder air behind some of these frontal systems. But I usually like to wait for a couple of days until that comes. But I mean, look at some of the atmospheric rivers just rolling into the Pacific Northwest here into system after system. And there's some strong lows on the GFS as well. Look at this 982 millibar low right off the coast. That would bring really windy conditions to Oregon on that one here. And this would really bring a strong wind across the Willamette Valley, Western Oregon. And look at this next one out there too. Look at this 976 millibar low. That is a beastly storm right on the coastline there. And I mean, we're looking 300 hours out, but it's just kind of a sign that the storm track is going to remain pretty active here as we go. But yeah, I think I counted like what, 8 or 9 systems rolling through here. Yeah, there's not too much in the way of thunderstorm activity in the next 3 days, looks like. I mean, you guys are going to be getting some big rain. Something I wanted to show you also, Sarah. So you see that. You can see the big totals across a lot of the area, but this is the deterministic run here. So even in some cases, the deterministic run can be, you know, more extreme than even the most extreme ensemble members here. And so this is the ensemble mean. If we go out the same amount of time frame, you can actually see really big amounts. I mean, you're looking at over 7 inches for some of the Willamette Valley and big amounts across some of BC and Puget Sound, even getting huge rainfall as well. So the ensemble mean, which is a much more accurate depiction of what may occur, is actually pretty rainy also. And something I wanted to show on this as well. So let's go. Actually, sorry, that's 90 percentile. Go back to 50. This is more of an accurate descriptor here. So cancel that. Put an asterisk next to it, community notes or whatever. This is more accurate of a depiction, which is still a pretty rainy period. You know, this only brings us up to November 17th, and you can see maybe up towards 6 inches for Seattle. So yeah, it's definitely a stormy pattern here shaping up. El Nino probably not enhancing things right now, no. And it's, for the most part, it doesn't enhance storms too. I mean, it's a case-by-case basis a lot of times. You have to look at the background conditions and whatnot to kind of see if El Nino is affecting things. And it's usually not something that El Nino usually starts to show its face a little more after the new year. I should probably do a video on that because I'm getting a lot of comments saying, what happened? I thought El Nino was in charge now, and it usually does not really take hold until after the new year. Then we start to see those above average conditions. And even in El Nino years, you're going to get rainstorms, and you can even get snowfall into the lower elevations during El Nino years. You're still going to have natural variability. You've got Rossby wave activity that's moving through, and you know, there's other things going on versus just El Nino. So El Nino is not, you know, it's not really in play right now. So if SeaTac averages about 38 inches of rain, it tends to get between 6 and 7 inches in November. So you're looking at 1/6, maybe 15, 17% of your annual precipitation in November. I'm going to take this watch off. I keep hitting it. Hey, everybody joining. But yeah, you can, some of these atmospheric rivers, like when we get, the tough thing is to know just exactly how much it's enhancing it by. Like if we get into February and there's a big atmospheric river into the West Coast, and you can see that El Nino conditions are in place, you can say, yeah, El Nino probably has some impact on this setup going on right now, but it's hard to quantify just how much of that setup is caused by the El Nino itself. Sometimes it can be 5, 6, 7%, but that 6%, when you're getting a big rainfall storm or a big rainstorm, you're adding totals to what might already be a pretty dynamic flooding situation. So but it's still tough to pin it down on any one given background state like La Nina or El Nino. But a lot of times La Nina, you can really see the pattern setting up. You'll actually, let's see, I'll go to a wider view here and explain things a little bit better. Like if you go to if you're in an El Nino winter, let's go to upper air wind here. A lot of times La Nina is characterized by a very strong jet stream coming off of into the Western Pacific. And then we tend to get more of a variable jet stream downstream. And sometimes you can see that strong jet stream. You see big ridging out over the Pacific Ocean here and some of the Aleutian Islands. And you'll notice that cold air diving down to the region. And you can kind of tell that that's a La Nina setup. And the opposite can be true as well, as a jet will extend across the Pacific Ocean and tend to be a bit stronger here. And we get a stronger Aleutian low. So we're under more of a southwest warm flow that brings warmer water across the surface of the Pacific Ocean, and it kind of brings a generally southwest warmer flow here, and that kind of keeps Arctic outbreaks at bay a bit for a lot of El Nino years. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, and it really gets going and cranking once you start getting into the early new year. Like some of the months here for Seattle, the difference between a La Nina and an El Nino can be over 3-degree mean temperature for the month, so it can be pretty impressive differences. Okay, let me catch up with some of the chat here. Lake Chelan getting a little bit of rain. I mean, yeah, if you're in the higher elevations when this starts out today, is it not snowing there? Where are you? Orville, Washington. Yeah, it could start out as some light freezing rain or snow with this system moving in. Yeah, now, yeah. Yeah, the landslide index, that's another one too that we're going to be going over, as we go through these next few days. If we go to here and I haven't brought it up in a while. Let me pick it out here. Where is it? This is a pretty cool site here. This red line, the 3-day cumulative precipitation in inches is on the left here. And the 15-day cumulative precipitation is on the bottom axis here. So you can see once you start getting above 3.5 inches of rain in a 3-day period, then you start getting in that threshold where you can start to get some landslides. So this is pretty cool. You can kind of see Seattle, Everett, Seattle, Tacoma. And also if anybody knows any kind of website like this for anywhere in California or the Willamette Valley or anything, please let me know. I did a little bit of searching, not a lot, admittedly, but I have not seen this setup for any other places, including British Columbia. I'd like to see if they have some kind of threshold like this for landslide occurrences. Yeah, Victoria, BC, you guys are getting some of the rain shadow activity off the mountain ranges there. Hello, all. Hoping for another February snowmageddon. Yeah, it was a weak El Nino, but it was an El Nino in 2019. So you still can get snowfall in El Nino years. It's more likely than not going to be a very good snow year for the I-90 ski areas like Alpental and Snoqualmie Pass up there. You can get years that are all right, but you tend to not get the big snow years here during El Nino years, especially if it's going to be a strong El Nino. Did Texas win the World Series? I didn't even realize they had, after the Mariners were done, I stopped watching pretty much. Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, the snow levels fluctuate a lot. That's why you tend to get, you get a lot of melting and refreezing in the snowpack, and you've got all these different kind of snow densities in the mountainous areas. And that's something else we'll be looking at too. If we start getting some snow, we will be going and doing that also. So the Avalanche Center, the Northwest Avalanche Center. This is a really good site, you guys. I mean, it's like got really good information. It even talks about like avalanches, individual avalanches, and people that were victims of them, and what kind of conditions were going on. But this is a really good website here, and it's nothing's going on right now. I believe they're not even insufficient data for issuing danger ratings. But yeah, we'll be going over that stuff as we go. It says that this live updates, but I don't really think you got to refresh it. And if you guys hadn't heard, if you're just joining now, we did pass 52,000 subscribers. So one of the main reasons why my daughter didn't want me to switch the pages up was because she knew that I would lose a lot of subscribers once I split the channels up into California and Washington. And that actually did occur for a while. As you can see, my net growth was very little for a couple weeks, maybe even longer. I wasn't gaining any subscribers until the weather started getting active again. Then you could see them climbing back up. But she really wants to see us get the 100,000 subscriber plaque from YouTube. So that was kind of a tough choice, but I think it's the right choice. I mean, I think that a lot of people in California were not getting the word, even though the California videos were doing quite well. I don't think that it was meeting what it could do. You can see it got a couple more subscribers there, but yeah, if you're just joining, you guys, we had the 18Z GFS come in there. Plenty of precipitation here for us the next couple of weeks. And I think I took away the ensemble mean here, but yeah, we got some interesting storms coming in here. Yeah, the National Weather Service Avalanche Center is really good. Very excellent discussions, like in detailed stuff. They're on the ball there. Kelly from Victoria. Yeah, I remember the slow start, Kevin Moore. Yeah, it was tough sledding. It's tough sledding for new YouTube channels, that's for sure. I mean, you feel like getting to 100 subscribers is a big deal. Getting a subscriber is a big deal when you're just starting. There's a couple other new YouTube pages around that, that it gets tough to get traction going. Yeah, that's actually a good question about the inversions on the east side of the Cascades, because sometimes if you do get cold air intrusions into the area, they can be difficult to scour out sometimes. And so you can get some nice inversions of the east of the Cascades. If you're just getting general southwest flow and you're not bringing progressive cold fronts through the region, then yeah, you can set up some pretty good inversions and you can get freezing rain even and stuff like that in the right scenarios. Yeah, actually, let's do this too. Actually, let's bring up the radar Omega and we'll do sorry about the bright white light there. Let's do the combination of Doppler radars here. Yeah, you can kind of see still across the Seattle Metro, just now starting to pick up. Probably some moderate rain falling down in Olympia. If anybody's in Olympia, let me know what you see. Then probably, looks like actually, so somebody just said it was not raining that hard in Centralia. Jesse says, I found this channel in California who got hit with those consecutive atmospheric rivers. It was crazy. Yeah, that was some good timing on putting the California Weather Watch channel out there. Yeah, I love snow. It's one of my most favorite features here in the Pacific Northwest, lower elevation snowfall. So I'm crossing my fingers and just praying we can bring a big snow event in here. It's usually not a good thing, though, that you have a strong La Nina around. I'll just put it at that. And otherwise, we're just going to watch this go day by day, week by week, and try to will a cold system to get here. and gets us some low-level snowfall. Yeah, if anybody wants to give me a Tesla Powerwall, I'll take it. So let's do this. So what we can do is go, if we go duplicate tab and we can go to ensemble, we'll go to 24-hour snow. Somebody asked about Stevens Pass there. Not much going on, really. I mean, you might just see a few flakes outside the higher portions of the pass or something there once you get up the terrain. There might be a colder system there moving in later in the weekend, though, and you might get a few more inches of snow up there. I had pretty good snowfall up there the other day when I drove through. I mean, there was probably 8-9 inches, it seemed like. Yeah, and every time that's the thing, every time you hope for snowfall, it's somebody's always got to drive the food around and they got to bring supplies, and it affects people's work. So not everybody loves the snow. Yeah, you find that out quickly when you're a weather person and you just completely love the snow and you wish for it at every turn. Not everybody has your enthusiasm for the snowfall. Yeah, so let's do British Columbia, and we'll go to Whistler. And this is in centimeters for Whistler, remember that. So if you're looking at 10 centimeters, that's what you're looking at, 2.5 inches. But yeah, it's definitely colder up in BC. Kind of a general rule there. It's a little bit better for snow. A lot of times you don't get quite the moisture that far in, but yeah, Whistler's definitely colder. And you can see this first shot here as we go on in through tomorrow morning, a few inches of snow, a couple inches, and better chances as we go on in through the weekend and later next week. And somebody said Mount Baker too. Let's do Mount Baker. Yeah, just some flakes around the higher terrain there maybe, but there's better chances coming though. Yeah, that ice storm was pretty wicked last year, huh? That's something that you always remember. Trying to catch up on some of the chat here. Yeah, Shauna mentions that didn't we get the big lowland snow in 2019? Yes, that was during an El Nino year. The only thing was that was a weaker El Nino. So it's not quite apples to apples comparison there. I mean, the Cascades of Washington and BC are some of the snowiest places on Earth if you're, on the right years. It's what I believe. I mean, I know that Mount Rainier held the record for a long time for most snow in a year, and then Mount Baker broke it. And I don't know if that's still the record or not. I can't remember. We're not looking at snow for lower elevations right now. I always like to look at, I'll just go like this once in a while. You can always get a chuckle out of the ensemble runs. If you look at what is this ensemble member number 28 here, 29, you can see SeaTac has one of the ensemble members that brings in about 0.4 of an inch of snow. But of course, you throw that out immediately. And then you can get really crazy by looking at the European. If you see here, the ECMWF extended member view and mean total snow. If I click on that, then you can see some crazy stuff because this goes from November 1st. And if you look right here, that's December 1st, right there. So you're looking all the way up to December 19th on this extended forecast. And this runs daily now. But you can see there's even a couple of them with the mean is about an inch. by the time we get towards December 17th. Just came back. Oh, I thought you came back from skiing. Okay. Oh yeah, 10 centimeters is 4 inches. What was I saying? 2.5. Yeah, I misspoke. Yep, that's correct. .5 centimeters is 1 inch. That's what I was trying to say in my mind. It didn't come out right. You can see one of these ensembles there also. Another thing about this extended European, if you look on the left here, 100 down to control run. So you've got 100 different ensemble members there, and one of them has like what, over a foot of snowfall there. So yeah, if you really want a fantasy forecast, there you go. Looking at the GFS ensemble. This only goes through what, December 5th there, so not quite as far. Yeah, the weather bill's a little pricey. Another good one here too is weathermodels.com. And actually one of the creators of this website here actually gave me special access to it too. So he probably saw that I used it a lot and we chat a little bit online, but yeah, he hooked me up here. He gave me some nice access to this. It's another way of looking at these ensemble runs. In some ways, it's actually better too, because you look at like the Seattle Metro, the numbers show up a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to read. You kind of see we have a little bit of blustery maybe as we go through what is today, the 1st, the 2nd. Tomorrow morning, maybe a little blustery out there, but nothing too crazy. A little bit windier here as we go through November 5th. Yeah, there's probably some crazy snowfall totals off in some of the peaks in British Columbia that don't get measured, and put in Alaska too. So what did I do here? Let's go to, so somebody wants to know about the Oregon coast as well. Okay, we'll look ahead here in the European. So we'll go to, so you do have to bounce out here and you got to click Oregon. And then let's say we want to go to, let's do Sea Lion Caves for the heck of it. A little bit windier. And you kind of see some bigger windstorms intermixed in here, but still nothing, no consolidation of any kind of big windstorm in the future. You can see these gusts are getting up towards 40 miles per hour, but on Oregon coast, that's just that happens a few times a month in November. Yeah, freezing rain alerts in the high passes in Southwest BC. Yes, definitely. Still some chilly air getting caught up there. Nothing for the lowlands, but yeah. Meteo. Why have I've heard of that, but I'm not sure what that's referencing. Ben Sabo asked about the Meteo Blue forecast for the U.S. and Pacific. I'm not sure about that. Now the thing about Mount Baker is it's just far enough away from Seattle, and really it's it's kind of a drive to get up there, so you're kind of away from a lot of the riffraff. A lot of people. That's the thing that was cool. Like back in the 90s when Snoqualmie Pass was getting big snowfalls, we could literally get off work, and me and my friend, and we could go snowboard at Snoqualmie or Alpental like after work and then drive home. Yeah, my cats aren't loving the rain either. So let's do this. Let's go to our good old Langley Doppler radar. What a great thing it is to have a radar on our coastline. I remember the years and years and years where you had the big shadow here on the Olympic Mountains and you could never see what was going off on the coastline here. No high-speed chairs at Baker. A long, cold ride up. I'm going to close out the... Okay, I already did that. Let's do this. Yeah, I remember that in the 2000s, the ski pass prices would just seem like they would just go up pretty quickly, or they went up pretty quickly for over a period of a few years. Yeah, when it gets too crowded out there on the slopes, it really can ruin it. I mean, if you can't kind of freewheel it down the slope, it's not too great of a thing. I've seen people have some pretty nasty crashes crashing into each other. A couple other things we're going to look at here as well. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's do this. So this is actually, let's do the little bit of disagreement still showing up in the model. You can see that little blurb over Vancouver Island here. That's the system coming through right now. It's actually a fairly wet system, even though it doesn't look like much here at 18,000 feet. But then you can really see stuff just continue on. And you'll notice there's some disagreement. You can see the European trying to throw another ridge in there. And GFS is like, nope, we're going to have storm after storm. And the European brings a storm just a little bit further south. But the GFS is like, storm train is rolling. And then the European gets back on track here also through next weekend. And that would be another fun trough on the European way out into the future there. This is and you can kind of see that how the ensemble mean. You're averaging all 30 ensemble members in the GFS, so things just kind of smooth out and it doesn't really tell you much. This is just a control run of the ensembles of the European on the left. And now we're looking at 18Z here. This is the newest stuff. Still a little bit of disagreement here. The European a little bit quick with that next system here. Now I was hoping this long wave as it came through would give us a blow, but I don't know. It's not looking too hot right now, but it will be another wet system. It's just not a world-class windstorm or anything like that. And then you can kind of see a little bit of the ridge here, even on the GFS, but it probably won't be long lasting as this next system will be rolling across the Gulf also. So would be, there probably won't be, but let's go ahead and check it anyway here. Let's see. Yeah, so we are looking at Saturday, Sunday. So Monday is the 6th, right? Yeah. No, nothing too crazy out there. I mean, there's some smatterings and some bigger ones here. But the thing is, the storm track's still going to be rolling around at us here. So one of these could catch on. And they can come out of nowhere here when you're looking at 7 days plus. Yeah, I ate some Halloween candy yesterday too. I gotta watch it. Yeah, the whole rainforest there that's one of the only rainforests in the lower 48. I think it is the last one, in fact, if I'm not mistaken. And if you're just joining us now, let's run through the 18Z GFS. I just want to show people this first system quite wet, like an inch and a half for Seattle, even more surrounding areas, higher terrain. Next system rolling in here, a bit of a deeper low. Look at that 971 monster there to the southwest of Haida Gwaii. Another strong frontal system rolling through there. Then another system with another low pressure just continues the rainfall. Little bit of a break there. Maybe a day and a half, and then another system rolls through, and then another system with maybe some atmospheric river potential. And then you can see it likes to throw these fantasy windstorms at us here. You get that 982 millibar low move in. Then you can see a even stronger storm right off the coastline there. So, yeah, we got some interesting stuff here to watch for the next 2 weeks. No big windstorm right now that is coming out of Fantasyland yet. There's really even nothing much to latch onto for now, but that can change quick. Oh, that's awesome. Yep. Drew Januszewski. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and if you guys are ever wondering, here, let's do this. If you check here, GFS, you can see what time the model run starts. So the next one, the 0Z GFS, will start at 0330, which is 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. So that will start running literally here in like 7 minutes. But of course, it goes step by step as well. You can see it goes from 8:30 to 10:15 p.m. So it takes almost an hour and 45 minutes to run. What school is that, Drew? Yeah, you get those big showers rolling through the windward side. My wife's family lives out there in Mountain View, just south of Hilo. And this is something, I don't know why the GFS even does this, but this is the 18Z GFS. And I brought up Seattle, for example. And even with some of those bigger windstorms rolling around, it just doesn't, this is almost unusable now to this point. I don't know if something's changed with this, but I don't even look at it anymore. But there is a GFS that you can look at for the ensembles to try to pick out wind speeds. But this is basically worthless because this is just not accurate. Fiat Middle School in Spokane. Cool. Nice. Has model run time shortened over the past 5? That's a good question, actually. Off the top of my head, I would say maybe, I mean, it might have sped up some, but it doesn't seem like it. I mean, an hour and 45 minutes it takes the GFS to present itself, and I don't know if that's, so yeah, I'm not sure if that's increased. That's a good question, though. I'm sure somebody knows that answer somewhere. Yeah, we were kind of doing fantasy windstorm and fantasy snowstorm hunting when we came on here. Depends on where you are. I mean, there's no big windstorm coming in here, though, you guys. It's this tonight is not. Let me just back this up here and we'll go. Actually, let's do this. Let's put the NAM 3KM on here and just kind of look at that for the short term. And we'll go to the northwest. We'll go to surface wind, 80 meters. Actually, let's zoom in even more. I mean, you can see north of Port Townsend there, maybe just on the western point of Whidbey up towards the San Juans. I mean, some gusty southeasterly winds. And across some of the higher terrain, it's getting a little gusty looking there also, but it's not a big windstorm. The Oregon coast and the Washington coast are getting a little bit of wind there. So let's go ahead and look at this. Let's go to wind gust swath. Yeah, that's actually not too bad, actually. I spoke too soon. Because the NAM's showing a bit of a windy solution tomorrow morning. Oregon, Washington coast. Cape Disappointment. I mean, you could pop off a gust over 50 miles per hour down there. And it might be breezy around Olympia and Tacoma as well, but it's nothing too crazy. You can see the higher terrain, the Olympics. But like the Seattle Metro, I mean, you're talking about maybe 30 miles an hour here. November is definitely when the wind starts to pick up. Actually, December has the highest average peak gust wind speed, but it's pretty close. And a lot of times you can get good storms in January also. In fact, that reminds me of something. I wanted to look something up. Let's go to, what did I do with my, did I delete my model? I did. Look at that. I pulled my whole model tab off somehow. That's pretty funny. Okay, so we'll put that there and we'll go like this. There's a windstorm that I saw in January of 1951, and I want to see what that... Maybe this is not the time to do this right now, but... Oh, there it is. And I think this storm brought like a 70 mile per hour plus, what, maybe 75 for SeaTac. If this is the one, I'm not sure, but... I mean, that's basically inaugural day storm, pre-inaugural day storm. That is just a vicious windstorm. And you can see this one happened in April of 1951 here. I mean, you're talking about you're getting close to 15 millibar difference between Portland and Seattle there. And you can see that 978 millibar low right over Victoria there, or just north of it. Yeah, that's one I saw recently that it was pretty noteworthy there. Yeah, I mean, El Nino, the Climate Prediction Center for California is pretty darn wet looking. But again, that's... The thing is about trying to predict El Nino stuff in the future is that what are you going to do with this? Are you making like solid plans? Are you doing some kind of growing activity? Is there some kind of work that you need done? Because it's really pays off to just wait and to when you can get inside of 2 weeks or 10 days, unless you've got some long-term project going on or something like that. Because a lot of times, you know, it doesn't do that much good to try to predict what's coming down the line as far as El Nino is concerned. Man, look at that jet stream on the GFS. That's the ensemble mean. It is definitely going to stay stormy here for a few days at least. Yeah, we're going to have some action here. November is going to be a bit stormy, it looks like. Windstorm of 1991 in Spokane that led to a firestorm. If you remember the exact day, I could look it up. Yeah, that's a good thing too. Irrigation water. Yeah, that's something that's definitely beneficial. Like ski resorts, drought monitoring, reservoir water containment. You want to know, hey, do we need to keep reservoir levels down, or are we going to be wet? So there is things that it can be used for. And right now, it does show that... Is this the long range one? Nope. So if you guys are interested in that... I mean, you can see the above average signal there for California, January, February through March. But again, you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. It's really hard to just take that and run with it and be like, hey, we need to prepare now for above average conditions for that. Yeah, what I've heard about the Sierra Nevada down there in California too is that it's basically during El Nino year, some of the higher elevation snowfall can be actually pretty intense. But the lower elevation snowfall is probably not as good a bet as like for last year. As you remember, we had several pretty robust snowfalls move across some of the lower terrain of California. And we had snow all the way down in Southern California a few times. Yeah, if you guys, okay, let's look at the heat dome first then here. That, I mean, that, did I close out my, okay, there we go. Yeah, that heat dome, there's going to be research done about that for a long time. That was such a, just an incredibly crazy event there. And when did it peak? I think it peaked on the 28th, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, just ridiculous though. I mean, just a perfectly placed ridge. But yeah, it may have been one of the most anomalously unusual events of our lifetimes here. I mean, if it was a windstorm, it would have potentially eclipsed the Columbus Day storm. Maybe, you know, that's how rare or unique this kind of this heat dome was. And if you look at the temperatures at like 5,000 feet here, I mean, it's just kind of comical. It's just really ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about, you know, what, 80 degrees for some locations at 5,000 feet. Just bonkers. And that's going to, and then, yeah, it even got worse. Look at that. That's even, I mean, you're talking about, look at over British Columbia at 5,000 feet. You're talking about 32, you're talking almost 90 degrees. And what did it get worse? Let's check. I can't remember. Yeah, you can see the 32 isobar. Not isobar, temperature line. 32. That's pretty bad there. There's a lot of 32 up into BC here. You can see the 35 line down there into Oregon, 36. Oh, look at that. Yeah. 33, 34, 30, 35C at 5,000 feet. What in the world? That is bizarre. Matthew Fab in the house. Just checking in from Federal Way. Yeah, no problem. Just looking at some past stuff, talking about fantasy windstorms and snowstorms and watching the storm train rolling in here. Okay, so let's look that one up. 1991, October 16th. We'll just look at it real quick and just see if anything stands out. October. You had a ridge. It was kind of, it wasn't anything like 2021 or anything like that, but you had a ridge around. Yeah, I mean, sometimes for a firestorm, you know, if you have just dry conditions and really 20-mile-per-hour plus winds can really, is plenty to like spawn a firestorm. Yeah, we really need it. I mean, my neighbor cut down a huge pine tree just about a month ago, and the one next to it you could see was kind of had been pretty weakened as well. And I should have took a picture today. I'll probably take one tomorrow, but they're gonna have to take that one down as well. It's like turned completely brown, and there's a lot of noticeably stressed trees around, and it kind of shows up there in the Palmer Index as well. Yeah, you can get warm on some areas of the Oregon coast, but yeah, it usually never doesn't get super hot like the interior. If you get towards the coast, a lot of areas you're usually pretty moderated. Can you show us the reanalysis in the 2020? Can you give me the exact date on that again? Everything 2.0, 2021. I remember that one. I just don't remember the exact day. Give me the month and the day, if you would. Was that? I forget exactly when that was. It was November. Okay, let's do this. Let's bounce out a little bit. We'll go down and out, and we'll go to... Yeah, we're on the 19th here now. It doesn't look like too extreme there yet. Let me just keep going here. There's something out across the Pacific. Here it comes. Yeah, if somebody gets the exact days, let me know. And then we'll look at it. First half of November. Yeah, somebody look up the dates and tell me. Man, it's clicking around a lot here. Okay, let me try to bring this back down here. Okay. Oh, I was clicking on days back and forth there. Okay, that's why I was doing that. Yeah, it's a pretty impressive plume right there. So maybe this was it. Started on the 13th there. Yeah, look at that. Just training over the area. Yeah, we don't want to see flooding like that. But we definitely need the rain right now. There's potential for a system like that to come in here. As you guys can see, I mean, these are pretty juicy totals that showed up. And here, let's do this. Let's see if Weather Bell's true to its word here. Did they start bringing up? Yep, we got the 0Z going on there. So let's see, about the rain should start be picking up here. And you can see some pretty good chunks coming in as we go through tonight into tomorrow. It jumped at hour 15 there. But man, yeah, the GFS coming in hot. Look at Seattle, 1.6 inches of rain by the time we get towards tomorrow. Most rain at Bellingham per the National Weather Service. And we can just leave that. We'll just let that update as we go here. Let's take a look at some. Actually, let's do this. This is our system currently as we're speaking here. You can see the next one back here across the Pacific as well. Nice fetch of moisture with it, though. I mean, looks like we're going to get some pretty good amounts across some of the area. You can see they've got some winter weather advisories across some of Montana here. They don't have anything up for North Washington. Looks like a little bit of precip starting to fly there in eastern Washington. All right, you guys, I will be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. A rainforest exists at Mount Rainier Start at the Old Carpenter. So it's still considered a rainforest down there. For some reason, I thought the last one was up there on Northwest Washington. Yeah, I had to go get some water. Yeah, the 18Z GFS was wild. We're at the hour 41 now. You can see the next system just coming up on the coastline out there. Yeah, we'll probably have some areas dealing with some flooding concerns as we go over the next week or two, I would imagine. This is bringing a lot of water, pretty hot and heavy here. Well, we got a few more subscribers here. Yeah, and if you guys are just joining, we passed 52,000 subscribers. Can you guys see how many people are in the chat right now? I'm kind of curious. It's not showing up on my feed right here. $166, not bad. Yeah, maybe I should bring up Astoria. Let's do Astoria here. Because it looked pretty windy here on... It's not showing up on the European, though. The NAM is definitely different. I haven't looked at what the NAM shows on this. Let's check this out. Let's go to... What kind of information is on this? Oh. No, it does have the wind gust on there. This is a pretty cool page. So you can see the NAM 3KM there. There's Astoria. This is, what are we looking at here? This is 0Z already? Yeah, it is. So look at that, 55 mile per hour gust out of the southwest Astoria. And that would be occurring at what time? Just at, what, 2 a.m.? So yeah, you're going to get a little windy on the coastline. It looks like the European was not showing that. Some nice rain, nice stormy overnight. Be perfect to be on the beach, maybe oceanside. Nice wind blowing. Rain is falling. Look at the temperature, 60 degrees too. It's not even that cold. Westport. Somebody wants to see Westport. I like this. I did not realize that weathermodels.com had this. I don't think we have Westport on here. Let's see, what can we find that's close. Is Hoquiam going to be the closest thing we have? I wish we had something like, we need like a Cape Disappointment ensemble suite. Grays Harbor. Hoquiam. Yeah, I mean, the NAM's showing 45 in Hoquiam. 45 mile per hour gust. Look at that rain, too. Look at that total precipitation. 1.9 by 3 a.m. in the morning. Big time rain coming in here. Yeah, the weather station is quite nice. If you want a professional setup and you've got like your own home and you want to put a guy wired anemometer on your roof, it's best to just spend the $1,500 and get the Davis where you can co-locate the anemometer. But if you want a weather station to tell you an accurate temperature and does good with pressure and whatnot, that Tempest is a really good station. Yeah, it'd be awesome if they had a Cape Disappointment ensemble with wind, with waves also. I'm sure somebody could design one if you threw enough money at somebody, but. So let's do Grays Harbor 43. Let's see what it's calling for the Seattle Metro through tomorrow here. Now look at that. I mean, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Look at that. That's a 35 mile per hour gust for SeaTac. That'll get your attention. That starts blowing pretty good. I can take down some twigs. I mean, even if you have weakened trees, 35 miles per hour can take down weakened trees, especially if you got like some previous damage. Yeah, that storm out there, man. Oh, I should actually take a look at that, shouldn't we? Let's do this. So what would we looking at over there? Is this? So this is it back here. I haven't even let's get my bearings here for a second. Let's go to. Let's get off this though. Let's go to the GFS. We'll go to pressure. No, that's it right now already. It's on them right now. That is it. Okay. Yeah, you can see that just mature cyclone right now. Be interesting to see what kind of wind speeds they get out of this. London's probably going to get a good shot of wind also. And you can see why it's such a potent storm too. Just this huge amounts of cold air coming in behind here. Big pressure gradient. Well, there's no Oregon coast radar basically because there's not enough people to make it happen. That's the honest answer, really. And it's really unfortunate because like Portland, the Doppler beam is running into the coastal range here. So it's only picking up the highest echoes and it's just not very good. You can try to go down to Northern California. And you can kind of see a little bit as it goes up towards southern Oregon here, but that's just a massive gap. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of miles here. Oh yeah, you can start to see the storm offshore here coming in. Getting a little bit of structure on the radar here, as you can see. Rain's picking up on the coast right now too. You're probably hearing it out there. Forks, Hoquiam, Ocean Shores, Cape Disappointment, Astoria Seaside, raining pretty good. I hope you have a nice waterproof tent if you're going camping. Oh yeah, Olympia. Let's check that. Where were we here? $41, not bad. Yeah, might get your attention, a little blustery. Thanks for the kind words, Real Chris. It's raining in Olympia. So yeah, it looks like over an inch of rain by the time you get into early morning hours. There's some pretty good rain coming in overnight. Then you get a break for a bit and then it'll be back. Let's do McCord here. 40 miles per hour McCord. So yeah, it might get your attention. It might wake some people up actually. 40 miles per hour is not too shabby. What about, what's a state? Yeah, we need a station down there though. Well, the Walla was. So you're up talking about up in here, right? Or wait, Blue Mountains are. So the Wallowas are back up in here, right? If I'm not mistaken. Actually, we could just look. JP Chastain, thank you for the generosity. Can you give us a little info on what's heading to Idaho? So we can go like this. We can go. Let's actually zoom in a little bit more than that. Let's go to, what part of Idaho are you in? That's funny. Reflect the Sun. You mentioned those rain barrels. I used to have 9 50-gallon blue rain barrels catching water off my roof. Boise. So yeah, this storm won't be too windy for you. It doesn't look like. Let me scroll through here before I say that. So no big winds are heading, but if you're going up in the higher terrain there, you're going to get some winds. But actually, let's look at the precipitation as well. Definitely an upper elevation precipitation event for you. Also, you don't see much getting into the valley. And this is just for the next couple days though here as well. Let me look at something. Ah, there it comes. So yeah, you might be in for a rainy day there as you go on in through Saturday just after noon there. Looks like some serious rain rolling in here. Look at that. Nice shot of rain by the time you get towards Sunday morning for Boise. This is the GFS hot off the presses there as well. You're still getting some warm afternoons out there too across some of the valley in Idaho. Yeah, getting back up into the low 60s. That's not too bad. Some rain is coming your way though this weekend. You are welcome. Thanks for the generosity. Good evening. West Coast weather is here. Ron Dog is here. I should tell this. Okay, so the story of why I got rid of my rain barrels. I had like its awesome setup, but I got rid of it because we were out. I had bought this house and we were out landscaping the backyard, and we had like a medium sized excavator, and we hit this pipe and it just started spewing water, and we put a cap on it and we called somebody out, like the city water, and they're like, no, it's not city water. It's not anything we know about. And then the guy who worked for the local water district said it's probably an old well. So this thing flows at about 1.2 gallons a minute, and it's really clean water. So it's groundwater from somewhere, because it slows down a little bit in the summer and it comes back stronger in the winter, but it flows year round. So it's some kind of well or groundwater access. And we've discovered it. Somebody had buried it a long time ago in this pipe, and we hit it. And for the last 10 years, it's been flowing at over a gallon a minute. And so we can water our entire yard with it and stuff. It's pretty wild. It's, I've never heard anything like that. I don't know, maybe somebody has some experience with it, but looks like we tapped into some kind of an old well or something. I mean, it might not be a dry El Nino winter for California, guys. I know I keep seeing those comments come across here, but this is the seasonal precipitation outlook as you go January, February, March for California here. Doesn't mean it's going to happen for sure. It's just loaded dice. Sacramento, you guys might actually get some rain here over the next few days, next week or so. It looks like. Let's do this. That first one doesn't look like it's going to bring much rain to California. I mean, to the Bay Area south. Then this weekend, there might be some rain fly. No, you can see in the updated GFS here. Move this cup. Matt Rhodes, thanks for the generosity. Keep up the good work. Would love to hear more about what you do at Alaska. I adore the AS and have a few friends that fly for Alaska Airlines, also pilot. Yeah, so if you ask them, they might remember they might see my name on the releases there sometime. But what I do for Alaska Airlines is I am a flight controller or an aircraft dispatcher. And basically, we will come into work and we work individual desks. And so they try to divide them up by geographical region. So you're working flights in the same geographical area. So if you come in and you brief that day, and for example, if you're working the West Coast, you kind of know what the weather's like at Seattle and San Jose and San Francisco and Oakland and Los Angeles, San Diego, maybe Vegas and Phoenix or something to that effect. Or you're working Hawaii flights or you're working East Coast flights. So you kind of have an idea. And it makes it a little bit easier to forecast for that area during the day. And then you're dealing with aviation forecasts, and you're dealing with pilots, and you're routing around turbulence and thunderstorms, and you're planning alternate airports based on the weather and all kinds of good stuff like that. It's a pretty fun and kind of exciting job at times. But I really like it. It's kind of my dream job. Once I found out about it, I kind of went towards that. I was studying to be a National Weather Service meteorologist, and I was also studying to be an air traffic controller. I hadn't decided what I was going to do yet. And then I found out about dispatching, and it didn't pay bad, and the schedule was actually better, and you got to work a little bit more with the weather actually. And it was yeah, very enticing. Yeah, I think that a lot of trees, it's hard to water full grown trees and you don't think about it much sometimes. Some people have full, healthy, mature trees in their yard and you think, hey, it's probably got a big root system and it's going to be fine. But it turns out that may not be the case because I'm seeing a lot of huge, weakened trees around my house. And I hope it's not something that's just going to come crashing down if we get a region wide windstorm here and all of a sudden we just discover that yeah, trees were weak across the region, and we had huge tree falls in suburban and urban areas and off in the backcountry and everything. And all of a sudden, people's houses are getting crushed. And yeah, Leslie Ann worked as a flight ops agent 100 years ago at AirCal. That's good. Yeah, it's a pretty good career there going into aviation. And you hear talk about things becoming automated, but the FAA, in all honesty, it works pretty slow. And that's not just because it's inefficient, it's because they want to make things extremely safe. Things are extremely safe in commercial air travel, and they want to keep them that way. So there's no point in just going around changing stuff just because people want to throw new technology at things. It's always better to be safer. You don't want to FAA people fly on planes too. Everybody has vested interest in making sure that air travel is as safe as possible. And people say, oh, the FAA moves too slow and we need to be doing this and this and that. And it's like, well, things are working quite well right now. So there's no rush to be changing things. Yeah, Douglas fir. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of shallow rooted pines out here, and they kind of depend on persistent precipitation to be able to get their water. I'm not a botanist or an arborist, whatever you call it here, but I know what I see in the trees, and there's been several trees that have come down in the park by my house that seem to have been weakened, and those were not big winds that took those down. What's your forecast for Ootman, Arizona? Yeah, it's a tough one. I better to check back and stick with it for I mean, it's hard to just kind of pick a forecast out of the hat like that, but U.S. Forest Service itself put out a report last year. People calling for Firmageddon with 1.23 million acres of dead or dying fir trees in Washington, Oregon. Yeah, I've kind of noticed that too. Now that's the thing about pine beetles. Like after the Columbus Day storm, that they had to work really fast to remove all the down trees because if you leave those trees down for a season, the beetles will really propagate through them, and they'll breed and they'll spread, and then they will move to the standing trees after that. But yeah, drought can be the same thing. And of course, a drought stricken tree is much more susceptible to insect infestation. Yeah, they definitely do. All right, yeah, thanks everybody who's signing out here. Let's see if I can see one. I don't know why I can't see my. There it goes. 140 people are watching here. Nice. Yeah, the vegetation drought index, that's a good one. I enjoy looking at that just because it gives you a good idea. It's not always just cut and dry as, hey, we got a lot of precip, so we shouldn't be in drought, and sometimes stream levels can be deceptive too, from what I've heard. So I'm not an expert on drought, though. Disclaimer. Yeah, it's amazing all the people, like I see the three cricket there talking about losing trees. Everybody that I've talked to has just been really concerned about how many trees are dying. I see people typing in numbers. What do those numbers mean? I'm not sure. Oh, how many people are in the chat? I got you. Okay, 143. Okay, let's see if let's update the GFS here. I've been watching the GFS come up in real time here. Why is that not updating? Okay, we got the hour 132 now. Here we go. Yeah, so we got the system going through, then we get a little bit of a break. So as we go through the into Sunday night, looks like a little bit of a break occurring there. Then we bring some rain back in by Sunday afternoon. So Saturday night and then Sunday afternoon, the rain returns again. Lasts on in through Monday afternoon. Yeah, with regards, I don't bring up climate change a lot, but that's kind of one the concerning thing is that just small changes can allow insects to move into new areas. That's something that kind of doesn't sit well with me either. It seems like there's more mosquitoes around also, but just talking about climate change really gets people kind of riled up. So I kind of just avoid it for that fact by itself, but yeah, biting flies aren't fun either. We pick up any more subscribers? Yeah, it's always fun to watch the subscriber count go. We were trying to estimate what that's something. Oh, I should ask you guys. Okay, what is your guys' estimate on when this channel would hit 100,000? It's kind of weird because you can see it kind of changes. Sometimes you'll rapidly increase a couple thousand subscribers and then it levels off for a while and whatnot. So I'm kind of wondering, my kids were trying to figure it out. They were guessing dates when I'll hit 100,000, and my daughter thinks it'll be sometime next winter, like a year from now or something like that. But really have no idea. January, yeah. I wish it was. I mean, if we had a huge windstorm and a huge atmospheric river and a huge snow event, then maybe. I've been interested in combining coding and atmospheric sciences and specifically forecast modeling. Do you know any people to reach out? I mean, if you're serious about something like that, I would reach out to people at the UW. I would go to Cliff Mass himself if you can. But you might want to have your ducks in order before you did something like that. October 2024. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing the channel, how things respond when you do get big events. Like the one thing we haven't had on with the channel yet is obviously a big windstorm. We've had a couple good snowfall events, including in 2021, kind of when the channel started getting going, but we haven't had that big windstorm. And I'm kind of interested to see what would happen because windstorms can be get pretty riled up. I don't know. Well, I think I wouldn't be shocked to see some snow at the end of November. Maybe get down to some of the lower elevations around here, but I'm hoping we get some in November, December, because sometimes El Nino can really shut that stuff down once we get into the new year. Tempest Weather Station is awesome. We now use the Cell app instead of the commercial apps. Nice. I did separate California into a separate channel. That is correct. And the California channel is right at about 4,900 now. It's doing pretty well. I mean, it just started and it's got 5,000. I wonder why YouTube does that. So YouTube actually takes away subscribers at times. Maybe accounts become inactive, but I don't know if you've been active and it does that. Michael, what would you say was the last notable region-wide windstorm? I mean, we've had some decent storms. Like the December 2018 storm was kind of a region-wide storm. We had the bomb cyclone of 2021, but they weren't the big hammer blows to like Seattle and Portland at the same time. I mean, we had a pretty good classical windstorm in 2014 also that came up and brought Portland one of its highest gusts, but it only hit like 49 at SeaTac officially, so not really one of the bigger storms. So you almost have to go back to the Hanukkah Eve storm. I mean, the Hanukkah Eve storm is the last big generational windstorm that we've had. And that's going on 17 years now next month. So that's like way beyond what we usually go between those big windstorms. And sometimes you can get them in back-to-back years even, or even sometimes twice in a year. Sometimes there's 15-year gaps. And in this case, that's 17-year gap. But I mean, we've had some that have come close, like the October 2016 windstorm. You know, that was pegged to be a pretty big storm, although it didn't come to fruition like it was supposed to or anything. But yeah, sometimes we just go through these droughts, even though we've had pretty good mid-level windstorms though, especially the last 10 years. We've had some pretty good blusters here. I mean, we had January 2019, we had 60 miles per hour at SeaTac, which is a big gust, but it's a pretty localized wind event, for example. Yeah, the summer windstorm of 2015, that was a good event, especially for summertime. And trees were leaved up and everything, and it's the first storm of the season. I think I hit 47 miles per hour at my house, and that's a big deal in August. I mean, that's a huge deal in August. Oh yeah, I have not put up my extra devastation yet. I'm still kind of waiting to like, the original goal was to get it on the coast or up on the hill down in Southwest Washington, but I don't know if that's going to work now. I've been talking to the guys that control that station where I was going to install it, but it needs to be wired, and I don't know that we can set up a wired station. And I wanted to get on the coast and get a nice reading here for the next big windstorm that rolls through and get a nice, but I have not had, you know, there needs to be some, I need to talk about it a little more and get it out there a little bit more because I haven't found a perfect place for it yet. Yeah, I don't remember offhand. 2000. Oh, that's right, 2016. Last summer, SoCal had tons of thunderstorms. Okay, so yeah, all the happy squirrels. If you want to email me about anybody who you guys think might be interested in putting up a weather station on their house, but it might include putting up a pole with a couple 2, 3, 4 guy wires and stuff like that. So where did I learn about weather? I went to school. I went to an actual school in Montana. I went to a couple colleges as well, including Green River, where I did a lot of aviation study there. I went to a technical school in Helena, Montana, where I learned to become a National Weather Service contractor, and that's how I first got into weather. That was a pretty interesting school. It's now defunct. But that actually hooked me up with a job and everything too. Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome if I could install it at the Vista House in Oregon, but that's like that anemometer they have up there already is just so shoddy, and they don't seem to be interested in that. Ron Tyler. I mean, really anywhere I would consider on the Washington or Oregon coast. Really, maybe from what, Lincoln City north through Washington, something to that effect. Well, what I mean, I need to go through it again because I kind of like. What was yours, Brian? Because I don't know. There was actually a good offer up in the Fraser River Valley, but I'm looking for one for the mid latitude cyclones, the big strong south winds first. And if I can't do that, then I may end up doing one like that. Evan, thank you very much. Yeah, hopefully that helps you guys. Oh, I lost a subscriber. Look at that. See how that works? Okay, what hour are we out here? Let's see. That's not a bad low out there. Look at that 978. That's a pretty powerful storm. It is a kind of a ways out off the coastline there, but it's pumping a lot of moisture into the region. It'd get pretty blustery there on the Oregon coast. Nothing too crazy there. And you can see the next one coming. There it goes, hour 171. We might get a break there for a day or two, it looks like, as we go through next week. Who knows? We'll see. We'll have to see. That's looking a little bit far off into the future. But yeah, we got a few systems to go before that happens. That's a good idea, actually, too. The Westport Observation Tower. If they would let me set up a Davis there, that would be awesome. I have to write that down. I need to like remind myself. There's so many chats coming in. I'm trying to get. Let's see. Yeah, that's why it's really hard to get the big snow events into the Pacific Northwest. It's that air takes the trajectory over the higher terrain through BC here. So by the time it gets down into Southwest BC and Washington, it's starting to warm. And so, yeah, it's tough to get colder in here. Then you have to mix it just perfectly. But there are a few things that actually work for us too. Like if you get cold enough air off the coast of BC here too, it'll pour off the coast. And as it's coming south, it's over warmer water and you'll start to get that cyclogenesis in the rising air and you start to get that spin and cyclonic spin off the coastline there. And that can actually bring that troughing and some low pressure here. And that can actually bring some precip back up over cold air if you can get them down. You know, if you can get that cold air down here quick enough to do so anyway. Yeah, maybe Westport would let me do that. That would be a pretty awesome place to do it. Grayland. Okay, so oh, that's right. Okay, I think I remember your email. Were you the one that was not on the coast immediately, but you're inland a little bit? Or was that where you were just a few streets inland? I think Brian Anderson. Yeah, we can get snow in here at times, but yeah, these El Nino years, man, they bum me out sometimes. The last 6 years without snow were all El Nino years. Let's just put it that way. What do I do for 10-day forecast? I mean, I'm so in tune with the weather and I look at models so much that I just kind of know what's going on. So you'll never see me look at a smartphone app for a forecast. It just never happens. And I don't look I don't even read the National Weather Service discussions, honestly, anymore. I used to read every single one. And what that is if you go to, there's a thing where you can go to like individual locations, like for the National Weather Service, Seattle, Washington, and they'll give you what they think is what's going to happen here. And I used to read, they put out 4 of these a day. I used to read these religiously every single day for over 20 years. So I've read thousands of these. And honestly, I've kind of perfected my craft so much that I don't even read these anymore. If there's a huge storm coming, I'll kind of look just to see what they're saying. But yeah, I look at the weather model. So I'm not probably the best person to ask for what's exactly the best thing to look at if you're just kind of looking at a smartphone app. We're on the borderline of a strong El Nino right now. I'm going to do another El Nino video. This is going to include the Pacific Northwest here in the next couple of days also, because I'm going to explain a few things about when the biggest effects of El Nino occur and what we're looking like we may expect here this late fall and winter also. Okay, I think that's my cue. All right, I got to wrap this up, guys. I'm going to start getting ready for tomorrow. Do my normal briefings tomorrow. Take a look at what the weather models have to say, and we will, yeah, well, hopefully we'll get a picture of what's coming here. But yeah, it definitely looks like we're going to be wet here for the next couple of weeks at least. But you can still get nice days in between some of these systems as well. So don't forget about that. But anyway, I hope you guys like the live chat here. Thanks for stopping by. A very interesting chat tonight. Good questions, everybody. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here, and I hope you guys are going to have a good